Alright, welcome to 10 Questions with Kijani, the video meme. This is the second edition. We had a lot of fun with this the first time, and I got a lot of great questions once again, so let's go ahead and get started. Question 1 comes from Leo the Ninja Lion, and he writes in, if you could be anywhere in the world right now, where would you be, and what would you be doing?
Well, if I could be anywhere in the world right now, I would be in Africa working with lions in some capacity. It's always been a dream of mine to go over there and get to work with the big cats in their own natural habitat. So I would say that doing that and being there would accomplish both of those goals at the same time for me.
Question 2 from Triggertron70, what is your favorite con, what cons have you been to, and what con have you always wanted to go to?
Well, let's see here. I think I've been to 13 cons in my entire life so far. Being from Seattle, naturally I go to Rainforest every year. It's my hometown con. I've been there every year since I joined the fandom in 2008. I've also been to All for Fun there last year in Spokane in 2009. I went to FC twice. Unfortunately, I've only been there twice. I'd like to have been there more. I went to 2011, 2012, and I've also been to Anthrocon every single year since 2010. And now some people, as far as which one I like the most, a lot of people enjoy the smaller cons a little bit more, and those are nice because you can relax a little bit. It's easier to meet people, but I really enjoy the spectacle of the larger cons myself, such as Anthrocon. I wouldn't miss that convention for the world. I've been on staff there since 2011 as their publications editor. As far as the con I've always wanted to go to, I would really like to make the trip over to Europe to go to either Eurofurence in Germany or even Confuzzled in England. Because I think the idea of combining a European vacation with a furry con, I mean, that's great right there. So eventually I would like to make it over across the pond and go to one of those.
Alright, all the way from Philadelphia, my bud Philly Fox writes in another three-part question. As a first-timer, what should I expect at AC? What recommendations can you make, and what should I take away?
Well, Philly Fox, I'm really glad that you asked that question, because that's actually one of the most common questions that I get from people is what is the experience of going to a furry convention like, especially one like AC being your first con. Quite honestly, it will be just an absolute whirlwind for you in the few days that you're there, especially with it being your first con. The experience it may be overwhelming at times due just to the number of people and the number of fursuiters that you're going to see. But it's going to be overwhelming in a good way, because you're going to realize that, you know, especially if you're coming from a small city or a small town where you might not have that big furry population, you know, you're going to realize that that furry world is not so small after all. You're going to see thousands of people just like you. And as far as recommendations go, a lot of people like to wing it at cons, kind of just, you know, go off the seat of their pants, not really have any set plan or schedule. And I think for being your first con, I would highly recommend being as organized and planned as possible. Like maybe set a schedule, print out the schedule in advance of all the wonderful programming and stage shows and things that Anthrocon has to offer, and kind of, you know, have a guide of what you're going to do and when you're going to do it. Because if you don't do that, you're going to miss out on a lot of the things that you want to do or see, because there's just so much programming at AC. Other than that, just go in with an open mind and just get ready to have a blast. You know, just hold back. You know, don't hold back on any inhibitions you have. You know, be sure to stop fursuiters for photos if you want to, and just I mean, especially at AC, because you're going to see some amazing works of wearable art fursuits at AC that you will never see anywhere else, because it's really truly a worldwide convention in that regard. And also, if you want to meet up with people at the con, highly recommend getting their number beforehand, because once you get there, it's just going to be, it's nearly impossible to just run any specific person down, because there's just so much going on. Yeah, just always have plans with that. And as far as taking away from AC, what you will likely take away from the con is very personal to you. But what I got and what a lot of other furs take away is that it's just a sense of family, really. All of these people, this year there's going to be over 6,000 of them there, from all walks of life, all races, creeds, everything, backgrounds. There's such diversity in the fandom coming together just because we love cartoon animals. once a year. It's just amazing, and that's really what blew me away and why I love AC so much. It's just that spectacle, the biggest gathering of furry fans on the face of the earth, enjoying each other's company. And as we said, we're fans of each other. We all created our own characters, and I think that's really special, and that's what I would take away from going to Anthrocon for the first time.
Moving on to question 4, another topic near and dear to my heart. How do you feel about the recent increase of media attention to the fandom? From Spark Dalmatian.
Well, Spark, having worked in the news media myself for about 5 or 6 years now, and also majoring in journalism, the fandom's representation in the media is something I care very deeply about. And I believe it has the potential to be a really good thing for us if it's handled in the right way. Ever since I've been in the fandom, which is a relatively short time, only about 5 or 6 years now, I have noticed that more and more people have heard the term furry before, and surprisingly most of it's been in a really positive light. And I attribute that a lot to the major furry conventions such as Anthrocon and Further Confusion, and the great media packages that they roll out every year is tied in with the convention, especially Anthrocon. With the way Kage and the great media relations crew at that convention handles things. That's very, very positive coverage for us. And I've also noticed that there's been a few local TV specials airing around the country with the nightly news centered upon local furry populations, and that's always positive coverage to see, and kind of gets the word out there. Unfortunately, there are also those shock value shows looking for ratings, and most unfortunately also a lot of people that watch those type of shows believe what they see and take it as truth. And how I feel about that is a lot of people in the fandom go, well, who cares what people think, let's just carry on and not worry about all the trash that's on TV. But unfortunately that doesn't really apply to people that do public fursuiting, like me of course, and a lot of other people that go and do large organized events around the country, because those people who you're performing for are the ones that would have seen that show, and now they won't let their kid interact with the character because of something that they may have seen on television. Not only that, they could tell other people at that event that those people do such and such. That's really unfortunate. But on the whole, I really do believe that the public is becoming more knowledgeable and accepting of the furry fandom, and I know I will continue to do everything in my power to show that the most positive things that the furry fandom can bring.
Question 5 from Cody Wolf. Were or are there any fursuiters, furries, people who inspired you in any way that helped you get to where you are now in the fandom?
Yes, Cody, there have been a few fursuiters that have inspired me pretty much ever since the beginning. When I first got involved with the fandom and started going to conventions, I attended just about every panel I could on the topic of fursuiting. Whether it was performance or maintaining your fursuit or getting involved in the public realm with performance. I always wanted to learn and soak up as much information as I could, and someone that was really instrumental in that regard was Yippee Coyote, actually. I have a lot of respect for that guy. I've been to at least 5 of his panels at different cons all over the country. And he is such a fantastic performer, and he's just a wealth of information with his experience and how long he's been in the fandom and how long he's been performing. I've really learned a lot from him. And quite honestly, also Uncle Kage has been really inspirational to me as far as we share a very similar mindset on how the furry fandom should be presented in the media and in the public. And to do what he does and manage the largest furry convention in the world for as long as he has so successfully is really inspiring to me and amazing. Nowadays, however, there's been, even though many people have said that I inspired them, I still continue to draw inspiration from a lot of fursuiters that do what I do, go out and put smiles on people's faces and help worthy causes. Guys like Dog Bomb, there's too many to name here, but Dog Bomb, Tycho Aussie, Wolf Pup TK, just to name a few. People that go out in public and use their costumes to brighten the world around them and brighten up people's days. Hearing their success stories really, in turn, helps inspire me to keep doing the same.
Alright, now I got the serious stuff out of the way. Let's go to a couple fun, creative questions. Number 6, if you had the means or magic to make a furry or fursuit-specific invention, what would it be? From Abella.
Oh boy, a fursuit-specific invention. I have to put my creative thinking cap on for this one, but something like this maybe may exist already. I'm not really sure about the technology of it, but it would be really awesome to somehow have your normal human field of vision through a fursuit head. That would be so cool. Because anyone that has worn a fursuit head before knows that you have this sort of tunnel vision with also this blind spot in between your eyes. And it just makes performing that much more difficult, especially in tight or crowded spaces where you might not see a hazard in front of you that you would normally see by just walking normally. And this would save kids from unnecessary injuries as well, because I've seen it many times where a small, ankle biter sized kid comes up to interact or hug a fursuiter, and the fursuiter just doesn't see them and practically trips over the poor kid because they're just out of their field of vision. So I think something like that would just be a huge for anyone that does character performance.
Okay, question 7, another fun one from my buddy Zarek. If you had the choice to become Kijani the anthro lion, would you do it?
Ooh, wow, that's a tough one. Zarek, you made me put my creative thinking cap on again. Well, if it was a permanent change, I would say probably not. But I think even just for a limited time, it would be really cool to be a walking, talking lion and see what that would be like. But honestly, something that I've daydreamed about even more would be to transform into an actual African pharaoh lion, on 4 legs, and just to, what would it be like to have a pride of my own and just be a lion, and as I have such respect for those animals, that'd be really badass, I think. I mean, who wouldn't want to eat, sleep, and have sex all day? That's a pretty good life right there, right?
Okay, question 8, it's kind of a long one, so I'll paraphrase it. While you are suiting and people come up and ask you why you are suiting, do you speak and give them an explanation, or do you stay silent and animated? Do you ever break character in public, if need be?
Yeah, well, Chibi Fox, normally what I would do in that situation, for questions like that, I would rely on my spotters, because that's actually what part of the spotter's job, what it entails is some of their duties is to kind of be a spokesperson for the group, especially if you have characters that don't speak or are more traditional. I'm very traditional as far as that goes, so I absolutely do not break character or speak with my human voice in public. But if my spotter is not around, which can happen, I try to animate my response as best I can, which takes a lot of practice, but it's a lot of fun and it usually goes over pretty well.
Getting close to the end here, question 9 from SK1. What was the most memorable story or event you covered while working for the newspaper?
Well, the most memorable story I ever got to cover while working for the newspaper was the last time The Lion King came back to Seattle, which was in 2009. Now, I used to work for a community newspaper. Generally, the rule is you only cover stories that are in the city in which your newspaper runs. It's kind of like the weekly rag sort of paper. So since this was actually in the city of Seattle, I actually had to pull a lot of strings in order to cover this story. But I was able to get in there with my media credentials, and I went on the Lion King's media day, and I got to go backstage and take a little tour of the set, and I got to meet the puppet supervisor and see all the massive puppets up close, and that was such a great experience. And it was capped off by I actually got to interview the actor playing adult Simba in his dressing room. It was an exclusive interview one-on-one, and just to be able to talk with someone so passionate about the show and about what he does was really, really special to me. And as far as, I think, just a regular story that I did for the newspaper, I actually got to cover a business story on my friend Atapase's fursuit building company. Now, he doesn't really do that too much anymore, but it was called Anthrocon was the name of the company. And we actually had a blast with it. We got our official photographer for the newspaper to come out to his workshop and take photos of all the fursuits and the heads he was working on. And the photographer really had a blast with it, and I know Tapase did too. And it was actually the most read story on our website for a while, which really surprised my editor, but I guess it was a slow news week or something, I don't know.
Okay, sadly, all good things must come to an end. Question number 10. This is one I've gotten from a lot of people, so I can't attribute this to any one person. But what was your reaction when you found out you were going to be guest of honor at Biggest Little FurCon, and what are you most looking forward to about the experience?
Well, when they were even considering me to be the guest of honor at Biggest Little FurCon, I was just in total shock, and I was really surprised, to be honest with you. When they finally chose me, when they finally told me that I was the one, it was the biggest honor of my life up to this point. And it was really never a goal of mine to be the guest of honor at a convention. An honor like that is, I think, something that naturally happens over a long period of time, and your contributions to the furry world and beyond. And I put in a lot of hours, probably thousands upon thousands of hours as far as my video work goes, and organizing events and with my organization as well, and just putting the positive aspect of the furry fandom out there to the public, and putting smiles on people's faces and making a difference. And just to have that being honored in this way is really, really touching to me. And I know it's been inspiring to a lot of people, and hopefully this convention can further inspire people to just go out there and make a difference. There's a lot of people that are already doing it, and give back to the community. That's really what I'm all about. And hopefully I will see you all in Reno for a great convention, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be, I have really committed a lot to this convention. Really, they've been asking me to do a lot, but it's I'm all for it, really. I'm doing, I think, 4 or 5 panels. I'm doing 2 charity events. But it's all for a great cause, and it's going to be a wonderful, life-changing experience for me, I'm sure. So I hope to see you all there for a great convention.